Hello, everyone. So, welcome to day 15 of no food, no solid food. And I'm really enjoying this journey. This 40, or as I came to realize the other day, 44 days of Lent. And do you know what? When you do something like this, I think it is inevitable that you learn so much about yourself because just think of the space that you're clearing within you. And they say like whenever you clear space for something, like I mean you have to clear space for new things to come in. And this is like the perfect time. So this is why, when we get to spring, everyone wants to spring clean. And I had a wonderful time spring cleaning my home the other day. It was just incredible and it just felt like a completely different space. And I kind of feel like that's what a lot of us are doing with our body right now. For everyone that's inspired to do some type of cleaning up of their diet or cleaning up of their temple, their home of their soul, right? And we said that the other day in the other video. This is your home, the home of the soul. But some of the things that have like come through in the past few days that I really want to share is just, it's fascinating because I kind of want to get a little bit more refined. Like I've kind of got to that stage now where I really recognize that the body loves having space. And, we know that the body uses 80% of the energy to actually digest if we're eating food, right? So we know that that happens. But you've got so many collective undercurrent beliefs that we kind of have to tackle whenever you stop doing something like eating or drinking in a conventional way. And, so many of us kind of do it for the wrong reasons. We do it sometimes from, wanting to lose weight or from fear or like body shame or something like that. But when you do it from body love, when you do it from loving of life and wanting to really live that life to the fullest, it kind of changes how you experience things. I remember the first few times I did a breatharian long weekend. It's all about mindset. And, right now I'm still drinking liquids. And I do want to step it up a little notch now. I want to kind of shift it so that every day at noon, I go on water from noon and just incorporate at least 1 or 2 dry days in the week. So I think I'm going to shift it up a little bit like that. Because even if you're still having liquids, if that's like a juice or if that's, it might even be a tea or broth even, you're still providing a whole host of nutrients into your body, which is amazing, right? Which is what we want to do. But for me, I kind of also want to challenge the whole concept or the belief that we have to get all these things from an external source. Because I know theoretically, I know logically, and I know from doing breatharian long weekends that actually food should be for pleasure, right? Food should be for pleasure. And then if we can see that we're choosing it for pleasure, it's not a codependent choice. It's not an attached choice. We choose it for the joy of spending time and merging with whatever it is. And so now I'm kind of like, I've done 2 weeks, I've got another 30 days to go. Oh, just short. So I've got a month to go. And I'm kind of going, okay, well, how can I make this even more sacred for myself? I'm going, well, maybe, and I'm not going to do this like as a black and white, I'm going to do this every single day. I'm going to see if I can, see how my body responds to it. But I want to go, well, maybe if I go from noon onwards just onto water or dry, or a mixture of those two. Because I feel like my body's kind of cleared to a certain point now. And once again, like I said in the other video, it's been 2 weeks of not eating and my intestines are still releasing things. I'm going, oh my God, how much more can there be in there? We don't realize, right? But I'm feeling really light, really full of energy, really grounded, really clear, really focused. Time is different as well. I love how time changes when you aren't having as many external things come into your gut. And of course, the gut controls the mind anyway. The gut is responsible for, how we think, and the neurochemistry, the biochemistry, all that's created there. It's like the parasites inside us make us, want to eat so that they're happy and then we're happy. And it's like this really interesting symbiotic relationship. I was talking to my friend Joseph in Avalon about this yesterday. And he was like, oh, it's just like cordyceps, the mushroom cordyceps. And he was like, cordyceps make the insects believe that they need it and they spread the cordyceps around so the cordyceps can grow and live. And that's what the parasites do with us in our human bodies. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like Joseph's amazing. He's the founder of Magdalene Apothecary. He's the one that I make the incense with, the one that does that goes to Egypt, and he's half Egyptian and he's an alchemist and incredible, trained in Chinese medicine as well. Really incredible man. And I just loved that analogy. I was like, wow, okay, so this is something that nature does all the time. I bet everything has this, because like the world is this symbiotic relationship, right? We learn to live with one another in different ways, and we kind of need each other in an interdependent way. It's ideally how we want to be. We don't want to be codependent or fiercely independent. And this is the same for humans, right? And how we connect. We want to connect on an interdependent level, you know? But yeah, so anyway, so it's just some of the things that I've kind of been realizing is like now 2 weeks in, I'm going, okay, that's really, really great. But what is the reasons why I'm doing this? Right? You know, one of my other like very close friends that I love ever so much was super sweet. She was like, can you not just melt some chocolate? Then it's a liquid so you can have it. And I was like, that's not the point. It's like if I was to melt like a Cadbury's like milk or something like that and drink it, I think I'd get very ill. And my body already does not like that type of chocolate. So melting it probably won't be good. But you know, it kind of gets you more connected and more aware of you know, how things interact with us, of what things kind of feel like on a different level. It's so fascinating. It's like, you know, we can have such a respect for all these things out there, you know, such as Cadbury's dairy milk or whatever. You can have all this respect for all that stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean to say that I want to put it in my body. You know, just like I love looking at flowers and smelling flowers. And I do love having flowers in my home, but you know, I love them when they're living. It's like my reef on the door is a living reef right now. It's got bulbs in it that are growing. It's great. You know, we don't have to chop them down and put them in something. But at the same time, I respect that when we do, like we do with a tea or we do with a tincture or something like that, you know. Everything really has the capacity to be whole. And this is what I'm learning a lot right now at this point in day 15, that everything has the capacity to be whole because it already is whole. It's only humans that really fracture ourselves enough to believe that we're not. And that's powerful, right? That's like, it's a strange kind of realization to have. On a psychic level, and I'm going to talk about this as well, because a lot of people that watching these videos, you know me for the psychic work that I do in the service work in the spiritual world, and my clairvoyance is so tuned in right now, like all the clairs. But it's like the cleaner the temple is, right? The cleaner the channel is, the cleaner the messages are, the cleaner the information is that comes in. You know, I was driving home last night and I was going, oh my gosh, looking at the stars and just having a really wonderful conversation with Orion and all the constellations up there, and they were just sharing so much profound wisdom. And like, and I saw like we saw someone in Glastonbury yesterday that had not exactly a newborn, but 5-month-old, beautiful baby, 5-month-old baby. And I was like, and I could see this baby's soul and spirit so huge, so vast, all squeezing into this beautiful little baby that is literally like this big. And I'm going, oh my God, I'm saying to my friend, I'm like, can you see that? Like, I mean, I can see that when I meditate normally. Like I have to meditate first before I go into an appointment and just kind of, you know, get into the zone a little bit. Not necessarily for long, but I have to kind of like switch my body into that frequency. Otherwise, you know, we're just kind of walking out into the physical world and we see everything, which I kind of do anyway. But like, it was so profound just to literally be in this restaurant. Well, everyone else is eating and drinking, and I'm just there having like, I had a latte and it was great. But then I'm like, and this person comes in with their 5-month-old, and I'm like, wow. Like, hit my friend on time. I'm like, oh my God, Jess, can you see that? She's like, what? I'm like, can you see that baby's soul and spirit? That is unreal. I've never seen it like that before. Like, not just as clear as day. And I'm like, and I absolutely love it. I love the layering. And, you know, like, I train psychic ability anyway, right? I train and I teach it. And so, like, when we even look at kinesises, right, making things move, making air move, making water move, when we look at things like that, or even telepathy, you know, part of it is kind of seeing the different waves that are already existing in this seeming vacuum of space, right? You know, this empty air that's not very empty, And this kind of links back into how we get our nutrients as well. Like, we have everything here. And just like Morpheus said to Neo in the Matrix, you think that's air you're breathing? The body will convert it and make it what it is, because we are the channel, we are the center of the universe. We are the center of our own universe. That might sound egotistical, but that's the reality of it. And when we start to acknowledge that, own that, and really embody it, you can't just theorize all these things. And that's what we all do in the world, don't we? We're just sharing and pirating information. Oh, did you hear this? Did you hear that? And that's great. But how many of us are actually embodying it? And this is the thing that really blew my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, all the stuff that I actually teach anyway, like, I'm feeling it on such a different level because I'm embodying it on such a different level. And that is a place that, I love for everyone that I work with to get to, is just to really embody it and feel the power which they are, feel the love which they are, feel the truth of which they are, and something like this really, really can inspire that. But, it takes a building of trust with the body. You're not just going to jump into a 40-day fast, right? You've got to build trust by doing intermittent fasting, or by having a day on water or a day dry, or, doing different things. To just build that relationship, and knowing that the mind, knowing that the body's going to be okay, and the body trusting the mind, and vice versa. And yeah, it's beautiful. And like, life is just so beautiful. It's incredible. And I decided I have a wonderful friend who's a masseuse, and I had a massage the other day, and I'm going, oh my God, Kimberly, can you come around every week? Can you come around every week while I do this fast? Because I might as well chisel and sculpt the rest of my body and really kind of work on the parts where my body's held on to emotion. Like, as women, we hold on to emotion primarily around like our hips, our stomach, as well as other places, of course. But even if you think about what that is, fat's there to protect. It's gathering all the toxic stuff. And we think, like, if we think about what we hold around our hips, around our thighs, the meridians that run down there, the organs, right? The intestines, colon, large intestine, bladder, uterus, womb, and all the stuff that we put in our body. Like, if you're bleeding and you're using, tampons or anything like that, or if you've got chemical hormones into make an artificial cycle so you don't get pregnant, all this stuff, like, it's collecting somewhere, and then we gather weight, or we gather extra padding, right? And it's in the nature of a female to be curvy, of course, but also at the same time I'm going, but I know from like some of the training that I've done, like when I trained splits training, like the first year I trained that, I was crying every single time because of all the emotion that was held in the tendons and the muscles and the joints, just everywhere. And I'm like, and knowing that I can breathe through it, knowing that I can release it, and and it was so much for the first, like, well, it probably wasn't a full year of doing that, but like for the first 9 months of doing splits training, I was like, oh, literally crying, releasing all this pent up stored emotion that I hadn't processed through all my life. And we all do that, right? And so it's really fascinating, because now I'm going, oh my gosh, now my intestines are really clearing themselves out and just like renewing themselves and healing themselves and rebirthing themselves. This is a great opportunity to really kind of like really massage and move some of the extra like subcutaneous fat that I've been holding on for however long. And just seeing what emotions held there, seeing what I get to process now, what I get to release, what I get to free. Because this is the thing about our bodies as well. It's like, anything that we're holding within, we put so much energy into us and we don't actually use it all, right? And even the Chinese say this, like my Shifu says this, in China, it's like, we don't always really need to eat that much unless you're burning that much. Like, we're putting in all this energy, then it's storing, and then it's getting stagnant, and then our blood gets stagnant, our chi gets stagnant, liver chi, like spleen chi, and we get depleted, and then our auric field perforates, and blah, 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 blah. And it's fascinating to like feel the actual embodiment of that, just feel that shift. But yeah, no, I'm loving it. I went for a really, really like power hike up and around the tour to get to Chell well yesterday, and it was really interesting just to kind of go, I can feel my body working differently. Like, heat is different in the body, and my organs are working a little bit differently in the body now. There's more space, and my body's now going to have to get used to that a little bit, and that's going to be a bit of a learning curve. Because if it's forever worked in a certain way, like anything, when we're training a certain part of the body, there's like learning curve of that. So I do appreciate that my body might be like, oh, how do we deal with high intensity or high intensity cardio or strength training? Like, And it was great. It was like I was literally powering up there with my friend, like going really, really fast up a very steep hill. And you know, feeling my blood really pump through my body, and I'm going, wow, I can really feel this in a really cool and very beautiful way, very sacred way. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop now because they're doing some wonderful work. They're digging up the roads, doing some work around the house, but it is very noisy. Shay Alice today, which is why I came around the front of the house rather than the back because it's right outside the back door. But I can hear that they're getting really loud, and I don't want you to just have like excessive drilling on the video. So day 15, no food. I'm gonna step it up a little bit now. I'm gonna start incorporating like water days or water from after 12 or something like that. I'm just gonna feel into it and get the right flow. I appreciate as well that I think it might be a little bit hard for some of my friends and family as well. Like, you know, because it's like we're so used to having a coffee or something sweet or something, you know, or food even, or maybe even a glass of wine with you know, with someone that we love. And then at the same time, if they're not eating or drinking, it's like, it doesn't replace the connection that we're going to have with you. But that's always a thing that people forget as well, is like, you know, we have to even have compassion and help people around us through that, you know, because it can be a bit daunting for them. Like, we place so much connection on food and drink, right? And so much like worth and value on it, meaning on it. So that's something that I've also been a little bit conscious of this week. Anyway, that's it for me. Send you all so much love. Thank you for watching and listening. As always, put any questions you have in the comments. I'll address them on the next video. I'm loving all the support that I'm getting. Thank you so much. I'm loving everyone that's also doing this themselves. Well done. Whatever it is that you're doing. Doesn't have to be what I'm doing, but whatever it is that you're doing it for you. You're doing it for the right reasons. I love you all.